You know, with how bad Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was, I spent a lot of time looking for what I didn't like about the game. And obviously, the open combat missions are one thing that we've talked about many, many times, and all the other flaws that the game had, maybe with characters kind of being unimportant, written poorly, the campaign being too short, all these different things, right? So when we concentrate on all that, there's sometimes things that we miss, or maybe we're overly critical with certain aspects of the game. I'm gonna take a maybe dig at myself here, and I'm going to say that I was wrong, I think, in some of my thinking when it came to Makarov, because I thought Makarov was just lame, an idiot, and every plan that he had was thwarted by Task Force 141 or anyone else that was on the good side. It just seemed like he never won. Not that I want a Russian ultranationalist to win, not that I want him to commit terrorist acts and kill thousands or hundreds of innocent people. I don't want that. But my point is, when you see him fail time and time and time again, it kind of hurts his villainy. It kind of affects him and makes him seem weak. And so when his plan failed to blame fire on the ULF, I thought, okay, he took an L. And then when his plan failed to blow up the train station, I said, well, he took an L. And when he failed to get General Shepard over to the prison, well, he took an L. And when his buddy Nolan was taken, then he took an L. It just seemed like he was taking L's and L's and L's the whole game. So it did affect him a lot, in my opinion. It just completely made him weak. And I had a hard time believing how he was so intelligent, how he was the biggest threat that Task Force 141 had faced, when he just, again, kept failing at everything that he did. And so my point is, I overlooked the victories that he did have, or how brutal and ruthless he was actually as a person. I mean, he was absolutely cruel, but I didn't do enough digging on him. I didn't really pay that much attention to him because I was just concentrating on the big picture stuff that he was failing at. But a few days ago, I went back and I replayed 2 missions for the campaign. I played the first one where you're on Milena Romanova's island, and the second mission that I played was the Vernansk attack in 2019. And that was planned by the Inner Circle, but it was spearheaded by Makarov. He was like the main man behind that mission. And his plan was to kill civilians at the stadium and use them as a distraction to blow up the airport in Vernansk. That was brutal. And I don't know how many lives were lost. I would say well over 500 people probably were murdered on that day, because the stadium already is filled with people. I mean, when you're going to stadiums like that in Europe or around that area, I mean, you usually have 20,000 seats, 30,000 seats, and he probably killed a lot of those people with some explosions. And as you're walking through the stadium, you're seeing bodies upon bodies, bodies really piling over one another. And that was all Makarov's doing. And it was absolutely disturbing. And it was sick to see so many people get shot right in front of you. And obviously, in context, for him, that was a victory. And then we never saw the aftermath of the explosion in Vernansk airport. But that was probably gruesome, brutal. Kids, women, elderly, everyone dead. I mean, that was a big thing that he did. So Verdansk 2019 was absolutely wild, and I really didn't pay that much attention to it the first time I did it, maybe because I was concentrating on some other stuff. But that was a big quote-unquote victory for Makarov, and it was extremely brutal, to say the least. Now, the other one was the airplane mission. The airplane mission, when I actually first played it, it was brutal and heart-wrenching. I don't want to go into too much detail because that's a video within itself. But in the airplane, he killed all those people for what? To blame Farah Karim. And although he didn't succeed in his mission, he succeeded in killing probably a little bit over 60 people at least in that explosion. I can't remember the exact number or if it was ever said, but he killed a lot of people on that plane. And once again, kids, elderly, women, just absolutely gone. And they were Russian as well. Most of them were Russian. It was his own quote-unquote people. And he committed mass murder once again. So even though his plan wasn't fully successful, he still managed in killing all those people. My point is that although I shitted on Makarov, although I called him a weak villain, although I called him a loser because he did lose a lot, he still managed to kill so many innocent people. And for what? He's still a crazy psychotic person that needs to be stopped, that needs to be killed. And when you really sit down and break down the stuff that he truly did and the lives that he took, I mean, he absolutely needs a bullet right between his eyes, and hopefully we're able to deliver that in Modern Warfare 4.